Bernat.com. Today we're going to be working on the treble crochet. It's written as TR on a pattern, and it's a nice tall stitch, and I'm going to take you through it step by step, so let's get started. So today I'm using Bernat Super Value as my yarn and a 5mm crochet hook, and I've already chained 8 stitches to start with. To work my first treble crochet, I want to work in the 5th chain from the hook, and your pattern will tell you that. So we want to count our chains from our hook. So remember, this one that's on your hook does not count. That's considered your working loop. So we're going to count our chains, and it's very helpful if you have it so that your chains are kind of creating this V shape here. If that's what's facing you, it'll make your life a lot easier. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the stitch I'm actually going to work into right here. So to start our treble crochet, we want to wrap the yarn around our hook twice before we go into the stitch. So we want to once, twice. So we have 2 yarn over hooks, and then we're going to go into our stitch. Now when you're working into the chain, you want to go through that one loop right there. So we have 1 bar or loop across our hook. We want to wrap our yarn around our hook and draw up a loop. We now have 4 loops on our hook. Now the next step is repeated 3 times. So basically what you want to do is wrap our yarn around our hook and pull through 2 stitches. That's once. Wrap our yarn around our hook and pull through 2 stitches. That's twice. Wrap our yarn around our hook and pull through 2 stitches, and that's our 3rd time. So there's your first treble crochet. So now we want to work our next treble crochet. This is the stitch we just worked into, so we want to move over and work into the next stitch right here. So remember, wrap our yarn around twice before we go into our stitch. So once, twice. Now we're going to go into our stitch, wrap our yarn around our hook, and draw up a loop. We now have 4 loops on our hook. And this is the step that we'll repeat 3 times. Yarn over hook and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over hook and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over hook and pull through 2 loops. So that's our next treble crochet. So we're going to work our next one. That's a stitch we've just worked into, so we're going to work into this one right here. So to start, wrap our yarn around twice. Once, twice. Then we're going to go into our stitch, wrap our yarn around our hook, and pull up a loop. We now have 4 loops on our hook. So this is the step we repeat over and over. We want to wrap our yarn around our hook, pull through 2 loops, wrap our yarn around our hook, pull through 2 loops, wrap our yarn around our hook, and pull through 2 loops. And that's your next treble. So I'm going to work my last treble crochet into this last chain right here. So I'm going to wrap around twice. I'm going to insert it into my stitch, wrap it around, and pull up a loop. 4 loops on my hook. Wrap it around, pull through 2, yarn over hook, pull through 2, yarn over hook, pull through 2. So there we are. That's our first row of treble crochets, and you're going to see that we've made 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this skip chain that we did right at the very beginning, because remember we worked into the 5th chain from the hook. In most patterns, this is actually going to count as a stitch, and you're just going to work this chain right here as a regular stitch. So how do we work our next row? Basically, we turn our work, And the first thing that we want to do, our pattern will tell us, is to chain 4. So to chain, you put your yarn around your hook and you draw up a loop. That's 1 chain, 2 chains, 3, 4. Now you'll have to look at your pattern and it will tell you whether this chain 4 counts as a stitch or not. Most often it does. So that's what I'm going to do with my stitch. But if it doesn't count, you will actually work into this first stitch, because you have to think about it like this. If this counts as a stitch, that means it counts as this first stitch right here, and then you'd go and work over here. If it didn't count as a stitch, which your pattern would say does not count as a stitch, you're actually going to work into this first one. I'm going to treat it, because the most often this is counted as a stitch, I'm going to treat it that way, and I'm going to work into this one right here. So we're going to form our stitch just like we did when we were working into the foundation row. We're going to wrap our yarn once, twice around the hook, and remember I'm skipping that first one because this counts, and I'm going to go into the second one right here. Now when you go into this, you'll see that this is actually 2 bars that you go through, the front and the back loop of the stitch, and you're going to treat that as one when you go through. So we want to wrap our yarn around our hook and pull it through. So that's what I meant when I said we treat it as one. We go through both of those loops. So now we have 4 loops on our hook, and we want to do the yarn over hook and pull through 2 loops 3 times. So yarn over hook, pull through 2 loops, yarn over hook, pull through 2 loops, yarn over hook, and pull through 2 loops. So now when I want to work my next stitch, I'm going to work into this one because we've worked that one. Now I'm going to work right here. So I'm going to wrap around once, twice, insert it into my stitch, yarn over hook, and pull up a loop, yarn over hook and pull through 2, yarn over hook and pull through 2, yarn over hook and pull through 2. And that's all there is to making treble crochets. So this is a basic swatch of what treble crochets look like if I just continued along with what I was doing, which is every row treble crochet, turning it each time. What you can see is when you look at it and you flip it over, it looks virtually the same on both sides. So that's all there is to it, and we'll see you again at Bernat.com.